Hello guys, in this video we are going to talk about some of the useful tools in Maya. So these are the tools that might seem very basic and you might know this already, but you don't use it often. So here we have this model. This is the model I downloaded from Quixel Bridge. So for example, you have to change the measurement of your model according to the measure sheet that you have, or your client asks you to make it as exactly as given in the measure sheet. So you might have a sheet where you have the dimensions of this model. So for that, to check the height of this, we can go to create, measure tools and distance tool. So if I click over here first, then I click again, then it will show me the distance between the first click and the second click. So this is the measure tool in Maya. So you can see over here it's like 222, but as you zoom in over here, you can see it's not matching exactly. So you can always change these things, and here it will tell you the size of this mesh. So now if you want to change, or if you want to see the size of your mesh, there is one more way. So where you can just hold Control and then press T. So this will open this transform tool, or we call this as Manipulator tool in Maya. So here you can see the exact height, width and depth of your model. So here if you click on these numbers, you can always change them. So I will set this to 300, then I will set the width to 150, then the depth to 100. So this is how you can easily change the measurements of your model. So I will first demonstrate the problem, then I will tell you what is the tool I'm going to use. So here I have one plane, and I will select these faces and I will extract these faces. So now over here I have two meshes. So in outline, if you see, we have two meshes over here. So now I want to combine these two meshes. So I will select these two, then I will combine them. So now, yeah, if you did the UV also, so I will do the UV as well. I will go back, I'll go to UV, and then this is the UV of this. I will just resize this, and I will resize this as well. So if you click on both, you can see the UVs. So now we will go back to our general mode, then I will combine these two mesh, combine. So now here if you go to vertex mode and you select on this vertex, if you move them, then you can see this is not merged together. So usually what artists do is, beginners, they will just try to weld these things separately. So this might work, but imagine you did smooth for your mesh. So you went here and you did smooth, and now you have so many vertices to join. So if you see here, we have this problem that continues down. So as we have this two mesh overlapping each other, what we can do is we'll double click on this mesh, and now you can see it, only this part has been selected, and double clicking on this, only this part has been selected. So this indicates that both are not merged. So what you have to do, just select both of your meshes and just right click, shift right click, merge vertex, then merge vertex, and you can keep the threshold to 0.01, and I will do that again, clicking on this over here, merge vertex, merge threshold, I'll keep it to 0.01. and now if you see this, we don't have that problem anymore. So for example, here you have one plane. So there are situations where you have a seat of your chair which is like a little bit curved, and you have to make it more curved. So what you do is you go to your edge mode, then you use your smooth tool, then you try to bend this thing. And as this is a plane, it might be easy, but there are many complicated models where you cannot use these things. So for that we have one tool. So if you go to deform, here we have this lattice. So all these tools are very useful, you can try them out, but I'm going to talk about lattice. So if you click on this box, here you have the settings, you can play around with these settings. I will keep it as it is, and if you apply, then you have lattice over here. So just click on this lattice box, right click, lattice point, and now you can change your mesh according to this lattice. So this might be very useful tool while working on some models, some bends where you want. So as I told, like you want some more curves in your chair seat or the backrest, so you can use this tool. So it can be very useful. So you can always add more lattice points. So just going to deform lattice. So here it is like 2, I will make it like 5 and create. So you can see now we have more points over here, but working with more points will complicate things a lot. So it depends on you what you want. So you can drag select many points together at once. So this might be a useful tool. So I will start with an example. So here I have this sphere. I will just quickly scale this and give it some weird shape. So I will scale this and I'll go to vertex mode. I'll use my soft selection and I'll make some nice shapes for this. This is a basic thing to demonstrate this tool. So now for example, I have this shape over here. So I want to mirror this now. So here we have this mirror tool. So if you click on this, okay, my bad, very sorry, click on this, it will try to mirror this according to the default settings. So here you have the direction, and mostly keep this always on the world. So direction, you can change this to plus and you can see the difference, and then you can move this thing, this gizmo, then you will get this mirror of your mesh. So here you have Y and Z as well, so you can mirror in whatever axis you want. But there is one more thing that you can do to mirror your mesh, is just by going to channel box, and I will freeze transformation till history first, and then if you want to mirror in X, I'll just send a pivot, mirror in X, you can go to scale and add -1. So this will mirror in -1 X, and then you can do the same with -Y. I'll just make this as 1, and then same thing you can do with the Z axis. So this is a very quick thing that you can use to mirror your model. So I will again start with an example. So here I am taking one cube, I will scale this cube, I'll keep this on the grid. Then here in inputs we can change the width, height and depth of this cube. So here I'm going to talk about the selection tools that we have in Maya. So simply when you right click on the mesh, you can select to face, and now here if I select this faces, so if you hold control you can always deselect this faces, but if you select these faces and if you hold shift and drag all over your mesh, so it will inverse the selection. So as you can see, I selected this first, so leaving these faces it will select everything else. So you're holding shift and dragging this thing. So now one more tool. So when you go to face mode, so here we have lasso selection. Now here you can go to face mode and you can lasso select your faces. So this might be useful when you have a heavy mesh, or you have a mesh which is not having a good topology, and you can use this selection tool to create UV seams. So then here we have this paint face, so just I'm clicking this paint brush, and here you can paint the faces. So this might be very useful when you're working on a heavy mesh, or you want to select many faces together and you just don't want to select a particular area. So here I will take one cube and I will go to Arnold and lights, area light. So when you have a closed room and you want to adjust your lights, so you will be zooming in to the room, and when you will zoom back you might be outside the walls. So you want to adjust this light and you want it to be facing in a one particular angle, but again and again you have to change the view, and you have to then use the translate, and again you have to change your views many times to get that perfect angle. So instead of that, what we can do is we can go to panels and we can select on look through selected. So what this will do is this will make you see through that particular object. So for example, in this case it's light, so now you can easily adjust your light the angle that you want. So very quick and easy thing in Maya. So this might be very useful when you are working with lights. So there are many situations where for example you want to animate a scene and you are going to add many characters. So whenever you add characters directly to your scene, it might make your Maya file very heavy and it might make your Maya lag a lot. So for that, in Maya we have one option. If you go to file, and here we have reference editor or create reference. So you can just press Ctrl R and it will open that thing. So many times I think you might have seen this window by mistakenly. So when you press Ctrl S or Ctrl T or some other things, you might have seen this window pop up. So just Ctrl R, this is for the reference window. So here you can just select the Maya file of your rig. So this rig is of like 12 MB, you can see. So I will use this as a reference. So this is very useful. So you want to do any edits in your main file, then you can do that edits over there. So you want to change the textures, you want to change the clothes, whatever you will do, it will be applied to this reference. So here you can see this little icon, so this indicates that you have one reference. So I will save this file just to show you the size difference. I will save this file. So here we have this test file. So if I go to properties, you can see it's just of 55 KB. So this can be very useful when you are working with multiple characters in your Maya scene, and it will be very useful to optimize your Maya. So here we are back with this 3D scan from Quixel Bridge. So now for example, you want this mesh, you have one room where you have kept similar meshes. So usually what people do, beginners do, is they will just duplicate this thing as many times as they want, and then they will go to Arnold lights, and I just will show you this thing. We'll just render this and IPR. So it will render out fine because we have kept the render settings very low and our mesh in viewport is not that much. But sometimes when you have many more meshes or you want to duplicate this mesh a lot of times more, then your system might crash when you do the Arnold render. So for that we have one solution. So this might be something different if you are using V-Ray, but you can just search for proxy or stand-ins for that particular render engine, so you will get that. So I will click on this mesh and I will click on Arnold, and I will go to scene export and I will export selection to .s. So I have already exported this, so I won't export this again. So here we have this, so you can just export and make sure this is in S. So now I will delete this, we don't need this anymore. so please do not delete it from the file location. And see, here we have stand-in. You can either click on this or you can directly click on this box. It will open from where you have to load the stand-ins. Otherwise you can just, if you clicked on the stand-ins just over here, so do not scale this, do not do anything with this, leave it as it is. It will be small, but do not scale this, okay? Otherwise you might come across some issues that you don't want. So here we have this path, we click on this and we click on the shelf, then load. So now we can see the placement of this box is exactly to what we had in the mesh, and the size is also the same. So now here you have this bounding box, you can't see anything, but once you hit render you will see this over here. So now if you want to see this in viewport, you can just go over here, viewport draw mode, you can click on this and you can click on wireframe, or you can click on polywire. That will show you the mesh as well, but it won't show the textures, I guess. Yeah, it won't show. Oh, shaded. Okay, still it's not showing. So okay, so just you can use this, then you can click on the standings and you can duplicate this as many times as you want. So what this will do is it will only render the one scene from the file where you have kept your file, and it will project those things. That, like technical terms, I don't know exactly how it works, but this will save you a lot of time when you are doing rendering. So this is it for this tool. So now here, this might be a very basic thing that you might know already, obviously, but this is just a video where you know things but you don't use it often. So if you click and press and hold Alt, then you click on X, then you will activate the walk tool. So now here you can see in the bottom there is one text, walk mode, press WASD, then plus drag. So there you click, left click, and I will place W, and you can see we are moving in the 3D space. So this is very like basic thing. If you want, you can just double click over here and you can change the walk speed as you want. So this might be fun. So just like if you have used Unreal, so if you press Q it will go up, if you press E it will go down, and this is just like a gaming tool. So in Unreal Engines we have this thing. So this might be fun and might be useful for the places that you want to zoom in and see. If you want to go back, just click over here and you will be back to the normal viewport view. So this much for this very small thing, but yeah, it might be very fun and useful. I will go to the settings, and in settings I will select this as meters. So now this was very small, big according to the centimeters view. So now it's very small if you see the meter view. So sometimes you want to work in meter view, so you will obviously set the size as per the meter scene. So now here we have a problem. When we zoom back, our model and grid will be disappeared. So for that, what you can do is you just go to perspective, and here we have far clip plane. Just add one more 0. If you go back, and we can see that issue is not there. If you make it, you can see that now it's 100, so you can't see that grid and model. So if you make it 1000, then you can see the frame. So now one more thing we have here, you can see this black spots. So for that, the best thing will be just go to create and create a camera and look from that camera. So now if you go back, so you won't have that issue. So here you can see the default is like 10,000 in far clip plane. So you can see that issue is not anymore. So if you want to change the settings of this perspective, you can just go to camera and you can just see the settings and you can check it. But it's better if you add a new camera and work on it. So now here we have one fun thing, like it's not a tool, maybe a settings. So here I will take this cube and I will set a key on this. So here we have this key and it's red. right, the default color for the key. So here you can go to Windows, you can go to settings and preferences, then color settings. So here you can change the color for the 3D views, background and all, and here you can change the color for IKFK. So FK joints will be in this color by default. So if you go to timestamp, here we have this key, so I just set that key just to show you guys that we can change the color. I'll make it like pink, and I will save this. So here you can see the color has been changed. So this might be very fun if you want to change the colors in your Maya, and it might be very confusing when you open the graph editor, and you can see I have already changed these things, but all the rotate X, translate X, scale X will be in one same color, so you can change the color according to your liking. So might be very useful. So many times when you take a cylinder, you have this problem, you will have this all the times, so that you have triangles over here, so you have to fix these triangles. So before that, I will keep this aside. You can always go to the settings, and here in create we have polygon primitives. So here you can use pipe if you want like something like this. So always go and check out these things over here. It might be the what output you want. So this pipe, if you want to make something similar to this pipe and you are going to use the cylinder, so instead of that you can use this pipe. So make sure you go to polygon primitives and check these things over here. So now we'll start and we'll make this as chords. So there are many ways, so we will see those things, a few things from that. So I will just go to the top view and I will drag select so that the bottom vertex will be also selected. So I will hold shift, right click, then chamfer. So now I will again go to the top view. So now most of the times what beginners do is they will go with the multi-cut tool and they will start joining these things. So what happens over here is it will be joined onto this part, but it won't be joined over here. So there are tricks which you can do with multi-cut that will apply to both sides, but it might be confusing and it might lead to some other problems. So instead of that, what we can do is we'll go to vertex, we'll select this one, then shift, right click, and here we have connect components. So this is what we can do to connect. And once you used one tool, just click on these two things, then press G. Okay, it's not working, my bad. Yeah, so actually you cannot connect the components because we have this over here, so there is no vertex in the center, so it won't connect these things. So just I will connect this one first, or I will connect these all things. Just I'll go to connect components and connect. I'll just select this, connect, select this, drag select connect, so that in the bottom part also it will be connected, connect, and drag select connect, drag select connect, drag select connect. So now we have this over here, all chords, and this is one way to do this. And then one more thing, I'll just go to do. So that is one more way. We'll take the cylinder and I will select these faces. I'll drag select. So it didn't select properly, so that's why I'll go to top view. I'll go to this face, drag select, and now what I will do is I will extrude this part inside. So now extrude thickness, okay. Here offset, I will change the offset, and now we have this over here. So now to avoid triangles, what we can do, I will go to top view again, so that I can select the both faces. So this center line I will keep this also. So now leaving this thing, I'll select this, and I'm leaving this, I'll select this. So alternately we are going. So then leaving this thing, this I will leave this, then select this, leave this, select this, leave this, select this, then same thing I'm doing over here, then this, select. Now I'll shift right click, delete it. So now here we have chords. So this is one thing. Then same thing with this, you can try to connect it first from this vertex to this, then you can connect this thing. So now when you want to make a sphere, so you take a sphere obviously, but here too we have this issue, triangles. So instead of fixing this, you can take a cube and you can bring this cube out, and without any subdivisions, just right click and smooth this. Now you will smooth this again, so you will get a nice sphere with chords. So if you want to use this sphere and remove these triangles, you can use these two methods, or if any other method you like, you can use that, or you can just take one cube and you can make it like this. Here if we see, we have one cute little funny thing. So here we have the soccer ball. So I don't use this, but still it can be useful to smooth this, so it will make these beautiful shapes. So if you want to have something like this, you can use this thing as well. So if you have set your render settings to high, and I'll just set these things to, like, you want to render a scene which is very heavy, but you always keep these things as the default settings, but still you might face some noise issues, so you crank this up to like 10, so that noise won't be there, just you want to see it in IPR. So but if you want your renders to be fast and you want to see less noise, so you can do one thing. I will just set these settings. I will go to GPU setting, GPU Arnold to 1, so this will bring up very much noises, but renders will be fast. So this I will keep it as it is, or you can just will keep it as HD 720. Okay, so over here in Arnold, if you click on Arnold, we have this render and open render, Arnold render view. I'll click on this, then I will just duck it over here. Then here we have this display settings. So here you can add filters and denoiser. So this optics denoiser is which will work with, I guess, CPU and GPU both, so it's the very fast. So sometimes you can use this to denoisers as well, or you can add lens effect after your render is done. Just you can use these things. So color correct, color curves, then exposure, many things we have over here. So I will just add on lights. So the more lights, the more time it will take to render. So just I will render this thing. I'll just zoom in and I will render this. So yeah, so it might take some time in the beginning while using the denoiser. So here if you see this, and I will just disable this so you can see the amount of noise that we have. But with this denoiser, it will try to reduce the noise, and it will imply like it's like upscaling, image upscaling trick. But you can see there is very much noise over here. You can't tell whether the lighting is proper. So just you can use this denoiser so that your renders might be fast when you are doing in IPR render, and you can quickly get the desired lighting that you want.